Okay, this is going to be a conversation about the planet Zog. And I love the context of this conversation because the planet Zog is just a joke, a silly hypothetical, something that doesn't really exist, something that doesn't even have the possibility to be remotely real. So, can you think of something in your life that others would look at you would look at yourself, or you would look at others and say, well, that's nothing but the planet Zog there. That can't be real. That's not possible. That's just a hypothetical. Because that is what the discussion really is about today. So, as an alien, I am going to advocate for the planet Zog. I am going to advocate for the unseen, the unknown, the unheard, the unbelievable. As spiritualists, we believe in the unseen. If we believe in God, we believe in a higher power we can't see. We're all breathing, but we've been told it's oxygen keeping us going. We don't know that, we can't see that, but because the institution and the systematic roots of Earth have ingrained that ideology into us, we don't say that that's nothing but a planet Zog moment, do we? We don't say that's just a hypothetical, that oxygen there. No, we believe it. We also know that to be true because obviously if we are locked in spaces with a lack of oxygen, we will die. But what if we were never in a situation where we were lacking oxygen? We wouldn't know it was a real thing. That's why experiments and testing, spiritual journeys, spiritual awakening, enlightenment, seeking higher self, meditation, mindfulness, tarot are all important things to explore. God, faith, religion, prayer, manifestation, all of the same. But it's harder for the spiritualist because the spiritualist hasn't got funding and backing and institutions and large-scale businesses that have got money and experimental designs to put people in white coats to go around testing whether or not they can survive for how long without oxygen. And no one even begins to know how to test the hypothesis of whether God is or isn't real. And there's so much political correctness and judgment around even claiming that God isn't real. To someone who is a true believer in faith, you couldn't dare speak on the Bible or the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita without getting yourself into a hate crime. So certain areas in society we look at as if, oh, that's nothing but the planet Zog. We'll just look away from it. It can't be real. And then we talk about different segments and factions within society that don't have the financial backing and the money and the know-how. And then we look at the people in power, the people in higher positions, and how on earth they manage to get there and what's keeping that ecosystem thriving. The institution. The institution, the institution, the institution, the institution. The company, the corporation, the industry. So where does the spiritualist stand in all of that? The tarot reader stand in all of that? The God-seeking, independent stand within all of that? The unique individual, the researcher, the dreamer, the believer? The awkward, quirky individual? The transgender, the non-binary, the lesbian, the gay, where do they all exist within that? The shaman, the light worker, the starseed, where do they exist within all of that? The entrepreneur, where do they exist within all of that? Now, what's brought me to this conversation today is I started the series on the channel that I hope many of you will engage with. It's called It's Time. And it's time too, and we've been doing different things. The first one was It's Time. We went into a temple, we went through the Stargate, I called it, and we went on a journey. And I took everyone into the journey and created a 10-minute window to go off on your own and meditate. And during that meditation, I went to a new world. And in that new world, if any of you have done that meditation, let me know where you went to and what you experienced. If you would like to share, please do let me know. But I went to a new world. And I saw a range of different species. And I spoke to them and I asked them, why am I here? I wasn't expecting to travel. I created the transmission, but I wasn't expecting to travel so intently. I woke up as if I just had my VR headset on, looked around and saw myself in a brand new space. It was a brand new realm, very industrial, very in line with the Industrial Revolution that I keep speaking about and the content I keep putting out around it. A range of different species, very similar to the likes of the Guardian of the Galaxies, the different species that exist there, and the kind of not even commune, but citadel. We're going to keep using that word on the channel a lot more now, the citadel, because that's what's happening with the Industrial Revolution. And I hope that if you're a spiritualist, you're being able to wake up with me and stay woke as we shift out of the love and light, ding, Tibetan bowls and tarot, and we really start to wiggle our way around the corporate world, the industrial lane, the company, the corporate, because a lot of our spiritualists now, we need to stand up and rise and be able to align to bigger corporations, bigger institutions, share our gifts and abilities with a wider collective. Because spirituality is soon becoming Atlantis. The stuff that we believe in is becoming ancient and old, along with all of the religions as well. You wouldn't believe what I've seen in regards to the future of religion for Christianity and Islam specifically. Yes, we are worshippers. Yes, we believe. Yes, we believe in our unique gods. Yeah. Judaism. Yeah. Buddhism, Sikhism, we can go all day, Hinduism. All of these faiths have been removed from the micro of the ecosystem. When I say that, I am implying that the whole planet that is Earth is now really predominantly encapsulated in macro economics, macro ideologies. Now, it's always been that way. We always look up to the monarchy if you live in the United Kingdom, the president if you live in the United States. We're always looking up to the high and mighty, the key players in the game, what's on the news, what's going on in the media. We're always looking up, obeying the Most High, which oftentimes in the macro isn't our Most High, not our source that is God, but is the institutional position of power, man-made controls, through an unjust voting system at that. So what I continue to see, which if I took enough time to sit down and pity it, I could cry for a long time. But I'm strong enough on the journey to not waste my tears and not waste my sorrow. For I have a bigger mission. Moreover, we have a bigger mission. Because faith, spirituality, and religion as we know it is capsizing in relation to the weight of the rest of the world. We are losing leverage. That sounds quite scary to say. Sounds a little Nazi-fied, if you ask me, because it feels like I'm screaming intently that we're being toppled over by the institution, which is true. But as I speak on BTC, if you're not into crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum and the changes of circumstances there, as Ethereum is set over the next 6 months to take a nudge over and capsize BTC as we know it, that same ideology exists in the spirit realm. All spirituality as we know it is ready to be capsized by the Industrial Revolution. There are YouTubers out there already using ChatGPT to predict their future. Where is the space on the platform for all of my gorgeous tarot readers who only use the platform to read tarot when suddenly AI now reads tarot? AI now does predictions. AI is now using the analytics from all around the world to prophesize on someone else's future. What does that do? It pulls away the ideologies of God and source, and it gives the source right back to the source code that is their AI function. So what is this? I'm saying this harshly, and this is not my unique view, but hear this. What is God? What is source? What is the word of God when AI exists? How scary. Did you hear that? Did that touch a nerve? Did you receive that ideology? If you are a spiritualist and you've been struggling with my content at this time because you like the readings, but you can't relate to the AI or the big tech or the Web3 or the cryptocurrency content that I'm putting out, I'm going to try my best to not lose you, because you're important on the mission. You are. And I'm not speaking about it to bridge a gap between spirituality and the other side. Imagine spirituality and the other side is no longer the spirit realm. When I'm talking about spirituality and the other side, I'm talking about the Industrial Revolution. I'm talking about macroeconomics. I'm talking about AI and big tech and Web3. Because the apps that are set to come out, the developments of Web3 as we know it, which is removing the mainframe that is www.web2, Google as we know it right now, the constructs of the web as we know it right now, totally disintegrated. We're in an era where MySpace and Bebo are now Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Twitter's fighting against it. Twitter's saying, no, don't take me. I don't want to be part of the old crew. I'm not Arx Jeeves, no. Elon's fighting away for his financial position and fighting away not to be conglomerated with the rest of the old team that's dwindling away. Because not only is spirituality fading away and the micro of spirituality totally disintegrating, meaning the core of the systems that we have already produced on earth, which created an ideology of centralization, no longer remains. So we're literally, if you are not already self-established and ingrained in some kind of construct, in regards to, when I say that, I mean financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, romantically, like in every element, if you haven't got a cemented core already within that micro system, then understand that what remains or what will happen moving forward is you'll be governed by the meso. Because the meso's doing their thing to obtain their own ecosystem. So if you haven't got your own ecosystem by now, you don't know what your ecosystem is. You're at risk and you're vulnerable. And your freedom and liberation is gonna be the worst it's ever been. Modern day slavery is amping up. Now, we can talk about modern day slavery in different contexts. I'll give you an example, and I don't want to offend the business that I'm referring to when I speak about this. But there is one well-known company in the United Kingdom that I've worked for many years in different contexts. You take on a job role for a month, 2 months, working with younger children or young adults, and you go on do residential trips, you work with them. You could have about four staff with you that are all really young. You're getting paid peanuts for the job. The contract and the legal arrangement of what you're doing and the working hours contract that you've signed is absolutely totally irrelevant in relation to the job you're doing on the ground, because the contract is totally contradictory of what needs to happen in regarding to safeguarding and child protection. For example, a residential trip where you've got to look after children for a full week straight, young adults for a full week straight, that are running in and out of each other's bedrooms, doing drugs and having sex, or you've got to try and make sure you prevent that. But your contract says you only work 8 to 6, 9 to 5, or these amount of hours. You can't do a timesheet. You are contracted to do the hours you're doing, but you've already been told at training that your job is to make sure that someone's staying up all night to make sure that these children are not sneaking into each other's rooms, sneaking out of the building, getting alcohol, getting drugs. And you are repeatedly confiscating alcohol and drugs and preventing sexual activity or nudes and sexting that's showing up on Snapchat. So with all of these events and a team of 4 staff to manage 80 to 100 children, it's not a situation where, oh, you're going to do the night shift tonight and the rest of us are going to get a full night's sleep, and then the next day you go to sleep for the day to get your hours back, and then it will all go out to work and have the young adults for the rest of the day. It doesn't work like that. You are doing extra hours. It is a form of modern day slavery when you want to look at it or not, because legally we're functioning on 4 hours of sleep, 2 hours of sleep if it's an awful night. No real sleeping whatsoever. And then you're up again to manage a whole day of activities and empowerment facilitation. Then you're back again all night, making sure no one's knocking boots underage or taking drugs or sneaking alcohol in, and then you're doing it again and again. Once again, you're getting paid. You're working 24 hours on the clock, but you're getting paid for 6 of them, 9 of them if you're lucky, and the pay's already shit. We all do it for a different incentive, for experience on your CV or as a way to improve your team skills. I mean, and you get to take part in different activities. But actually, that's just an example of something that happens in this day and age that runs and everyone's involved in it, and it's a really established project that's backed by the monarchy and different funding groups around government, and they put loads of money into these schemes and incentives. They think it's amazing. But the truth of the matter is, legally, logistically, modern day slavery is a thing, and I've got to outrightly say it's modern day slavery, the way in which things are actually happening on the ground in those circumstances, because it isn't legal, the level of working hours, and no one's looking at it, no one's trying to find a way around it, you know. So more things are going to happen like that because of the fact that AI can now do it all. AI is predicting the future. So what do we need a futurist for? What do we need tarot readers for? What do we need mediums for? Yeah? Analysts, economists, researchers, chemistry experiments in labs, every single scientist, everyone going to uni today, getting up to get that degree, anyone doing their PhD and doctorate today, working hard on their thesis and viva voca. I don't even think they realise how massively they are at a disadvantage now. Because actually, so many of the world are still living on that planet Zog, aren't they? There's half of us that are living on planet Zog, believing in the hypothetical, and then we've got the other half that are looking at everyone else, believing in the hypothetical, saying they're doing nothing but living in a dream world, living on planet Zog. So what do? How do we function? How do we prepare? We branch out, guys. We branch out. We have no choice now in this economy to branch out. If you are a believer and you have your belief system, it is now the time to ingrain it, to write it down. This is the era. This is the year you want to go into your own temple and you want to start carving your initials into the wall. Pyramids, temples, graveyards. I mean, let's not get too dark with the graveyard analogy, but throughout history, we have carved our story into stone, into brick, wood, mud, whatever we can, producing our scripture, promoting our word. And although we've moved away from the ruins and the temples and the pyramids and the caves, we still need to log these things. And that is why blockchain is so beautiful, because we have ledgers. Ledgers in the way I don't really agree with at this time, because they're numerals. And that's a limiting construct, because so far blockchain is rooted in finance and money. That's it. The only ledger we're keeping in regards to blockchain is the O's and the ones and the O's and the O's, the 0.2, the 0.4, the numbers, the decimal places, who's got this much money, what is the maximum, what is the minimum, what is the capacity, what is it not, what is the trading activity. That's all that we seem to care about. That is now the modern day temple. Codes running up and down the screen. That's what it is. Screenshot the fucking crypto trading screen and just capsize that for a moment and go, whoa. Put that up next to a whole ruins, or inside an Egyptian temple, catacombs, whatever you want to call it, all the different places we do carvings, which is absolutely everywhere across the land in antique, ancient spaces, and put them side by side and understand, hey, this is now, this is then. But the model is the exact same, because when we're all dead and gone here, that same screenshot equates to the same way we feel about these carvings that we look at now. When we're trying to understand, what do we call it? I can't even get the words out. But the old Latin, the old symbolic writing, Lemuric, runs, all of them. Emoji is also a language. Because these things are so modernized, we don't see them in context to anything other than the now. But emojis, in relation to the past, emojis on a screen, link emojis on a screen to Latin symbols or Egyptian symbols in a cave. They're the exact same construct. Years and years and years and years and years and years from now, people are going to see emoji conversations that kids have now. And they're going to go, so what does that mean then? So what the fuck does that mean then? An ice cream, a banana, a devil face, and a burger. What does that mean? Oh dear, this is a tough one. This is life. This is evolution. And every moment that we live and breathe and we keep going and we continue to live on planet Zog, or look at planet Zog from a distance, the millisecond is still accruing. The sun is still moving around Earth. The moon is still preparing to rise and set. So we have to look at things from a wider perspective. It is time no longer to judge the spiritualist or to judge the incorporation. It's the time of hating the institution, hating the bank, hating the president, hating the prime minister, hating government. Silly. The time is now to create a citadel. Everyone must create their own citadel, or provide the space for citadels to independently flourish. Hold space for everyone around you, provided they are of the light and they are truly part of your commune. For you don't have to let intruders in. You don't have to let people you don't trust in and that you don't feel like are worthy or well or genuine. I'll use the example from Walking Dead with Rick. And he's trained the whole team that before you let anyone into the community, before we say anyone can come back with us, we need to establish what they're really like, and we ask them 3 questions. have they ever killed before is one of those questions. Who were you before this? And if you have killed someone, what was your reason for them, and how many have you killed? Yeah? This is apocalypse we're talking about, and zombies, so it's a different context. But you need your questions. Or you need your eagle eye, your third eye, your observation, your truth. How do you assess and establish whether that person can enter the colony, the citadel, the safe space? Because everyone in the future is going to be looking for harbour. I also saw an image yesterday which has triggered my content coming out over the last day and over the next few weeks, which was the Amazon corporation in Mexico, or on the border, or on the US border, on the Mexican border. And it's been there since 2021, but only now did I see it pop up on my Reddit. And I thought, wow, what a prime example of the Industrial Revolution. The Amazon warehouse is humongous, very, very industrialized, sitting on a massive plot of land. And in front of it, you've got these tiny little teepees held up with little, like, metal pallets and a little bit of stick and a little bit of fabric and a little bit of wood, anything you can to hold up that property. I wasn't sure if it was actual housing. I mean, it could have been anything. Could have been little shops or supermarkets. I come from Jamaica, so I understand when you make a little hut or a little shop like that. And it just made me think about Jamaica as well. Wow. Look how natural the land is in Jamaica, and how we all go to the shops that actually quite often look like these places to get breakfast, to get what we want in the Caribbean, stuff like that. And imagine you just come in, take a huge chunk of land and build the most corporate thing you possibly could on it. And we all have Amazon. I'm sure anyone with a bit of money across Mexico, depending on whereabouts that is on the border, is easily getting what they need and getting their supplies and ordering great, fun, random slime off Amazon. But the truth of the matter is, it shows an incredible imbalance between those that are living on the planet Zog and those that are not. And for me, it would be a real shame to lose faith and spirituality. And even when I say it, I don't believe it, but God keeps telling me over and over again. We will fail to exist. We will not be here. We will be silenced. Not by anyone trying to silence us, but if we are not standing up, using our voice, engaging with the platform, stepping into arenas, institutional arenas, corporate arenas, trading floors, financial spaces. If we are choosing to be the spiritualist I birthed as, which was staying in my local community at my spiritualist church, ringing my Tibetan bowl, doing mediumship, working for charitable donations, keeping it really low key, working in small venues, and just staying humble like that, doing outdoor activities and communing at hippie events. All my favourite things to do. But we don't like the government, this old energy. We don't like the government. We don't like the banks. We don't like the institution. We don't like to vote. We see it all as paganism. We try to stay away from it. Well, the government's doing what they can to stay on top of the climate as it currently is, the economy as it currently is, and they know they need to keep walking forward in line with the development of tech. And they're right up there with the financial funding and the backing to do so. Yeah, the industries are moving in line with this. But the spiritual community isn't an industry. It's a social group. All social groups are nothing but social groups. We've got no other leverage other than just being a social group at this time. So as all the industries continue to thrive and cement themselves in the new world, establishing their plot of land in the macro system, The micro system's already gone and abolished. It's blown up all by itself because the core no longer exists. AI now have the core. Then all that we're left is with the meso. And the meso corporations are like Pretty Little Thing and Adidas at this time. Meso is downgraded. God, the police are meso. The NHS are meso. They used to be macro. They're not anymore. London Fire Brigade, the ambulance service, they're all meso now. Everything's gone down a wrong. That's why the micro doesn't exist. All that exists now, livable spaces energetically, is the meso and the macro. So that means, guys, if you don't establish your own micro now, as it's sinking, we are on sinking sand, then you're going to be relying on someone else's meso for the rest of your life. And that is a scary thought. So, I want to say for some of you guys, it is for food and bread, for solace and help, for healthcare, for everything. You're going to have to go to your meso, to your local borough, to your local food bank, to your local church. Not that we don't already use these things and love these things, but the weight of those institutions, the church is going to be doing more than it's ever done. The church is going to be a place for sleeping homeless. The church is also going to be a place for food banks. The church is going to, because any corporation that has enough of a roof over its head is going to be forced to house and roof everyone who becomes roofless moving forward, because the kingdom and the tech and this industrial revolution is so ruthless. It's going to make so many people roofless without a roof. Yeah? Hope you received that. Now, even when I say some of this stuff, right, I guess it takes me to somewhere I don't want to go. I don't want to share this with you guys. I don't want to put this content out because I know it's true. And a part of me still wants to go back to the days where I would say, no, it's just conspiracy. No, I'm just making this up. This may or may not happen. And it's sad because I know it's true. And then I'm surprised at myself as well for not being that sad person that I used to. Because 2 years ago, if I saw this in prophecy and I knew this was coming, I would have cried on the call with you. Oh my God, guys, I see the future and we're all going to struggle. But I haven't got time. We haven't got time, guys. I don't know how many of you are going to receive this, and if you are here and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to put out an ecosystem piece next. I have to get you tapped in on the ecosystems. It's my job. I've got to. I can't keep talking about all of this stuff with you guys, and you don't really know about the ecosystem of it all, so I'm going to do that next, okay? So you can understand what the micro is, what the meso is, and what the macro is, and what that means for you. All of you guys, I want you to take time to understand your local community well now. Yeah, that's the best thing you can do. You've got your own unique beliefs and your own ideologies. I need you to get a 10-year plan in place first. What do you want? What do you envision for yourself over the next 10 years? Like, what do you genuinely see for yourself in your mind's eye? I need you to go there, maybe even meditate on it. Take a week to conjure up those ideologies, dream, brainstorm, draw pictures, and then pull your ideas from that, okay? You really got to look now. 10-year plans need to start being activated now. From that, we can start assessing within that what's going on in your local community. The church, for example, whatever your religion is, church, mosque, temple, yeah, you want to know where they're at. You want to know at least the nearest 3 within your area. You want to also be aware of what the mileage is between them, what's the easiest one for you to travel to if you did need to go to one. Yeah, this is for the spiritualist that likes to seek solace, and every now and then you need support from a higher source, or you just need to feel closer to God, and you go to those places and everyone there is also feeling that vibration of the need to be with God, and together you find solace in the room with all of those people. We need that more. We're going to need that more, yeah? Now, I can't see the ins and outs of what's coming, and I want to feel like play like I'm being a hypochondriac, but I'm not. Because whether or not this is a spiritual war, a psychological war, a physical war, it is a large enough war that we will feel it in different ways. Financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we're all going to be challenged. Because those that are living on planet Zog are going to be made to feel like they're living on planet Zog over and over again. So removed from the technology, so removed from the digital currency, so removed from society and its grandiose nature now, after this digital revolution. Whereas those that are actually looking at the rest of the world that hadn't seemed to wake up yet and seem to be living in planet Zog are in a high and mighty position, looking down on the less fortunate, assuming they have no will or way to cope in the wider world. Little do they know that you are all of the fallen angels with the true source and key codes to save humanity. But they can't see that, for they only know the programming that they have been embedded with since they've been walking around in the corporate arena, ticking boxes and checking the O1s. So we're all left with limiting self-constructs of who we are and who we're meant to be, and in what ways we should and shouldn't be conforming. As we on the spiritualist don't conform, and the others on the other side only know conformity, what are we left with? You know? So that's why I put myself in the middle of the situation and embrace both sides, and I'm trying to spin left and right to make sure there is space for the spiritualist and the God lover and the Hindu and the Muslim and the Christian to still find their way. Because if we are not getting incredible spiritual beings to make spiritual tech, Christian tech, Muslim tech, Jewish tech, Judaism, like, we need more advancements in tech that are rooted in spirituality to prevent a dying breed. Because the Bibles as we know it, yeah, we got Bible apps and we've got stuff like that, there's loads of people doing the work, but seriously, when I spoke about those carvings and those gravings and the churches, we've got digital churches as well. We can watch church on YouTube. Since isolation, a lot of more people just went straight online and started to watch the full-on church service live. AI, VR, AR, we need to still nourish the spiritualist in its more naturalist form, because actually Christians are becoming indigenous. We're dying out. Hindus are dying out. Muslims. We're here and we're in our faith, but there is more and more of a breakaway. Modern ideologies and constructs, more people moving into LGBT non-binary communities where they're not accepted by the faith that they were raised in. Can't be a lesbian and gay if you're in a Christian household. If you're strictly Christian and the Bible's saying otherwise, you could be shunned, you could be kicked out on the street. Same in the Muslim community. You try and be transgender in the Muslim community, how do you think that's going to go down? That's not in every instance, may I say. I'm generalising and stereotyping to give you context of the conversation overall, because there are Muslim families, Muslim community groups that will accept all. Yeah. Same with Christianity. But as we all evolve and grow and the kids go out and start living their life and pull away from religion and no longer want to wear a hijab, they want to be more free in 2023, then things do start to change. And there is nothing wrong with it. Evolution is afoot. I want it to be clear that I'm not screaming here, we must force people back into all of these arenas, into these belief systems. But we have to innovate the model. We have to revolutionize it. Make space for it. incorporate it into the big tech world. We have to. There has to be a spiritual place for Web3. Web3 and spirituality need to truly know each other, you know? And I hope you guys embrace my spiritual immersive reality content. I'm going to be doing a lot more around that, you know, because we're going to need a lot more of that stuff. Because we are going to be encouraged and have no time in our schedules to pull out the Tibetan bowl and do the yoga and do all of these different stuff that we've been doing up until now. Because the tech is dominating all spaces. And we are going to be moving more and more into the metaverse where there is only going to be that one world. So how are we all going to hear the word of God when we're listening to the word of Siri and Alexa? When Alexa becomes God, who is going to remember Jesus? You know? So I just wanted to share that today, and it's kind of going to leave you with a question here of, are you living on planet Zog? Or are you watching everyone else live on planet Zog? Or are you, like the hermetologists, getting into your own spaceship, your own UFO, and choosing to fly up out of the Kármán line and just watch things from above, because at the moment that appears to be the safest place to be? Yeah? Love and light, collective.